Every city has its shadows, places where the light doesn't quite reach, and in those shadows, stories are born. Stories of pain, of survival, and sometimes of unexpected power. Tonight, in the heart of Atlanta, Georgia, on a quiet street corner where the hum of the city fades into silence, one such story is about to unfold. But this isn't just any story. This is the story of a woman who was underestimated. A woman who would remind the world that strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it waits in silence, ready to strike when the moment is right. Her name is Kendra Hayes, a 32-year-old disabled black woman known to her neighbors as the Quiet Woman, who lived alone in the small apartment above the corner store. To the outside world, she was invisible, just another face in a city that moves too fast to notice. But Kendra was anything but ordinary, and tonight, the world would learn why. It started like any other night. Kendra was making her way home after a long day. Her cane tapped gently against the pavement, a rhythmic sound that had become her companion over the years. She moved with purpose, her eyes scanning the street ahead. But what she didn't know was that danger was closing in. A group of men, fueled by hate and ignorance, had been watching her. To them, she was an easy target. A woman alone, disabled, and black. A combination that, in their twisted minds, made her vulnerable. But they were about to make the biggest mistake of their lives. The men surrounded her quickly, their voices dripping with venom. Slurs filled the air, each word a knife aimed at her dignity. Kendra stopped, her grip tightening on her cane. She didn't speak. She didn't plead. She simply stood there, her expression unreadable. The men laughed, thinking they had the upper hand. But they didn't see what was coming. They didn't see the storm brewing behind her calm exterior. The first man lunged at her, his hands reaching out to grab her, but before he could make contact, Kendra moved. It was fast, faster than anyone could have anticipated. Her cane, which had seemed like a simple tool for support, became a weapon. With a single, precise strike, she disarmed him, sending him stumbling back in shock. The other men froze, their laughter dying in their throats. This wasn't supposed to happen. She wasn't supposed to fight back. All by one, they came at her, and one by one, they fell. Kendra moved with a grace and precision that defied her disability. Every strike was calculated, every movement deliberate. She wasn't just fighting, she was teaching them a lesson. A lesson about underestimating people, a lesson about the consequences of hate. By the time the police arrived, the scene was eerily quiet. The men were on the ground, groaning in pain, while Kendra stood tall, her cane back in her hand, her breathing steady. The officers were stunned. They had expected to find a victim. Instead, they found a warrior. As the men were taken away, Kendra gave her statement, her voice calm and unwavering. She didn't boast. She didn't gloat. She simply told the truth. And when the officers asked her how she had managed to take down 5 men on her own, she simply smiled and said, "I've been training for this my whole life." Kendra Hayes wasn't just a woman with a disability. She was a former special operations soldier, trained in hand-to-hand combat and tactical defense. An injury had forced her to retire, but it hadn't taken away her skills. She had chosen a quiet life, but she had never forgotten how to fight. And tonight, she had proven that strength isn't about what you can see. It's about what lies beneath the surface. Back in her apartment, Kendra sat by the window, looking out at the city she called home. The streets were quiet again, but she knew the fight wasn't over. Hate still existed, lurking in the shadows. But so did she. And as long as she was here, the shadows would never be safe for those who sought to harm the innocent. Kendra's story is a reminder that heroes come in all forms. They don't always wear capes or stand in the spotlight. Sometimes they walk among us, unnoticed, until the moment calls for them to rise. And when they do, the world sees them for what they truly are, unstoppable. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment below. Let us know what you think about Kendra's journey and the power of resilience. Until next time, stay strong, stay vigilant, and remember, never underestimate the quiet ones.